Do it.
Hello?
You know?
Our families.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Bigfoot.
Wow.
Where's Mom?
The man's a cop.
Wow, this is freaking out. No.
Live from the new kingdom.
Well, you want to woo?
It's the Big Mouth podcast. Now, here's your hosts, Midnight Mike, Joe, and Gretchen.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another fun-filled podcast adventure. Hooray! My name's Midnight Mike. Gretchen is over there on screen. He's on the helm.
I hate this place.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing works here.
I couldn't do that drop last show because you weren't
In
here.
your 7 years.
And Joe is
Medications don't
also here. I think Joe is here.
I am tired.
Yes.
He's in the background.
Somehow.
He's in the background. You guys are welcome back, guys. You guys took the day off on Wednesday. I did a big interview with Trey Hudson. It wasn't the same without you guys, though. It wasn't the same.
How could it be?
I don't know. I just can't. Grim did a good job filling in, but he's kind of hung back while Trey kind of talked about the Meadow project. So check it out, people, if you haven't listened to it yet. If you like all things paranormal, that was the show for you. But I'm sure Joe has a lot of things to talk about. I'm sure Cretched has collected news stories that we got to get to at some point in time. We'll take calls. So there is a call that a listener has been demanding that they call in about. They have a topic that they want to talk about. And I told them, listen, when we open the phone lines, we'll go to you first. This is Big DTB. He calls in a lot. He's a nice guy. He's a longtime listener to the show. He said he has something very urgent to talk with us about. He's got this topic. I said, what's it about? He was very ambiguous about what the topic is, but he says it's fascinating and urgent. And he has a lot of things to say. So
Heard that before.
You're going to want to hover that finger over the hang up button.
Yep.
that's why I'm preempting this and say I like the guy. He's funny. He calls in, and we're going to give it a go. So when the phone lines are open, Big TDB or DDB, you're first, okay, buddy? And we'll see how it goes. Until then, we have a lot of news to get to, so why delay? Let's get into some headlines right now. Go back to work. Joe, did you hear that they're going to dim the sun?
Oh, I got a bunch of stuff on that. I'm so glad.
That's good news.
That's a conspiracy theory. There's no proof to that at all. Never.
They're going to dim the sun. I'll play this.
Do you want to get into it now, or do you want to mix it up when I start?
Well, okay. I'll leave that as my last article because there's a little bit of a video clip from a notable YouTuber that is talking about it. Some old English bloke, very reputable. But yeah, I'll leave that as my last article, and then that'll segue into what you got.
Well, but I got goofy stuff to start. Well, whatever. You do you.
We're
boo.
Professionals. We're professionals. We can figure this out. We can figure this out. Okay? No one panic.
I'm upset by this.
No. We're fine. Everything's
Are we panicking?
fine. Everything's fine. Okay. Then I will I'll go into this article because this is tech related. This is what we're all dealing with. And this headline is anything real anymore?
No.
Let's read this this headline up on screen. Is anything real anymore? AI making Americans suspicious of everything online.
I love that headline.
I can see
Hey,
that.
if they're suspicious, I'm all for it.
It is making them suspicious, and they should be. they should be suspicious of everything online. They always should have been. They should be suspicious of everything they read in general. Double check. Cross your T's, dot your I's, people. But here it is. In a nutshell, Americans believe that only 41% of online content is accurate and created by humans, with 3/4 reporting their trust in the internet is at an all-time low, people. So, all-time low.
Record deepness, right?
Yeah, record deepness with the trust, all-time low. When tested, only 30% of people could correctly identify AI written content. Well, that's a little bit more difficult. Cratchit, you seem pretty up on this. Do you think you can identify AI written content?
Generally, yes. If I know the person or the organization, I can tell when it's clearly not in their voice. I can also pick up when someone has clearly used AI to generate, a wall of text because it's very
it's verbose.
It's very verbose. Yeah, it's very garrulous, and there's lots of expanded phrasing and oddball kind of idioms thrown in that it's like this just doesn't read right. However, I will say I am as guilty as anybody of doing this, throwing some ideas in, letting AI generate some text. Then I take it and I put it in one of the AI detectors that tells you how much of your text has been AI written, and I move stuff around and rewrite paragraphs and things so that it's very low. It's under 10%. That way, if anybody accuses me of using AI, which I did in part, I can say it's not AI generated because you can throw it one of these detectors and it says, like, oh, this is probably 8% AI. I'm like, haha. So
it's not bad.
These computers, I tell you, they just get crazier and
if
crazier.
anyone's curious, the one I use a lot is Zero GPT, which is an AI detector and just looks for those patterns and looks for the turn of phrases and looks for how AI language is structured or AI generated language is structured. So you can put so if you are using AI for doing stuff at work, because hey, why not? If it's going to automate your tasks, put it in there before you send it out so you don't just look like you're another person just generating AI slop, as Adam Curry calls it.
Yeah, at my work, a lot of people use the ChatGPT or Gemini to write documentation because, it does a good job at, writing text. But the problem is when you just want to get down to the meat of how to do a specific operation, how do you get to a server? How do you, fix some problem? AI, it adds too much fluff, and I just want to get to the how to do it. And you gotta read through this wall of text until you basically get to the 5 bullet points that you need to do the job. And this is my complaint and what I'm seeking to fix with within my organization. But I don't know if could I detect if it's AI written? Probably not. I'm pretty naive, pretty stupid, so I'm easily fooled. According to this, 82% of Americans want businesses to be legally required to disclose when using AI in marketing or customer service or content creation.
I'm fine. I'd be fine with that. I've seen some of those things out there on press releases and things that say like this content in part AI generated, something like that. So I think just throwing that out there is fine. It doesn't necessarily absolve of any liability, but I think identifying it that way is perfectly kosher.
What about you, Joe? You're an anarchist. You don't like a lot of regulation. Do you think businesses should be required to tell consumers if they're using AI customer service or advertisements?
It's crazy that you brought up the chemtrail thing and then you go straight into this because I don't know if you want to get into it, but I do have an opinion on it, but it's, I guess, nuanced. I don't care if AI is doing your marketing, but you can always tell.
Okay. Well, you must be much more perceptive than I am. I can tell when there's an AI generated image or maybe a video, but when it comes to text, I'm not a big reader. I'd like to think I can read, but I don't know.
Because I like words. I'm kind of a wordsmith guy.
No, I'm not.
Do you want to divert just real quick?
Sure.
I'm into the health and fitness space, and there's this guy Tom DeLauer or whatever, and he's one of these fitness keto type folks, and this came up. I was on a walk yesterday, and I just found it interesting. But this is where I think the marketing part and the ethics of it get. I don't know. Like there should maybe be regulation. There's something about this, and I know this has come up in Hollywood too.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that was one of the sticking points with the previous Hollywood strike, writer strike, actor strike, is that the studios wanted to use AI generated like background extras, and the extra union were like, no, that's our gig, and it was a big sticking point. And I don't know how those negotiations fell. I don't know who won. Probably the AI people. But here's your Instagram post right here. We'll see if we can get this up on screen for people.
I can't believe this is happening. YouTube and Google are actually letting this happen. This is not me. This is an AI version that somebody made of me. Look at the eyes. Those aren't my eyes. My eyes are not that close together. They don't look like that. Although I kind of wish I had skin like that. I look like I'm 23 years old. But this AI voice, AI version of me is being used to push products on YouTube, some random thing. And YouTube and Google are just letting it fly. I mean, this whole thing that you're seeing behind me is correspondence with my attorney. Like, it's really hard to get this stuff taken down. I mean, this is like a Temu version of me, but they're using it to push whatever products they want to push. The thing is this is happening all over the place, and it's really hard to get it taken down. So you don't even know what you're watching. You can't even tell if it's really me these days.
Is that him though?
And again, it's happening all over the place.
That's an
So
AI
you can't give it a share.
Right.
This
That's
guy
kind of the first thing I thought. Is
isn't-
it like AI of him doing AI? Like, it's just like, okay. So going back to where you started, like, I don't know what is real anymore. Who knows?
Israel?
And so this guy is claiming, who we think is real, it's possible. He's claiming that the picture on screen is an AI version of him. And it looks like maybe 70% him, but I have a feeling the AI version of him has got bigger arms. I mean, you check out those pythons in that AI guy. I mean, those are 24-inch pythons.
That guy's like 40 years old and he still looks jacked like that. I'm like, that's
3 hours a day.
TRT or something.
Yeah, he's probably doing testosterone replacement. This guy's yoked out of his mind, and this is what he does.
Yeah.
This is all he does.
It's a lifestyle thing. He has to commit, obviously, but there's definitely some slight enhancement there.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is fine if that's what you're doing. So.
Yeah.
It's like Christian Bale. Like, he can get super skinny for a role or super buff for a role because his one job is to do that thing. And him, this guy's like fitness. Like, he gets paid a lot of money to just talk about it, do it, speak, write about it. So yeah, it's like his full-time gig is like the gym.
Yes. And I understand that. If you're getting paid to do that, that makes sense. But this guy, and there's a lot of guys like in their 40s, 50s, like Dr. Drew got jacked. Didn't he? That guy, Dr. Drew, he's always kind of like a skinny, kind of wimpy guy. And then Dr. Drew will now break your neck.
Jeff Bezos too.
Oh yeah, Bezos. Also a skinny kind of nerd.
Just to distract from his one weird eye.
Really? Does he have a Dr. Evil Eye? Yeah, he does.
Yeah, we've talked about it quite a bit.
But so for this, the AI marketing thing, like with this kind of thing, like, do we need regulation? I do think that there is some identity theft and there are kind of laws about that, but they're like, you cannot. So you got the General Tarkin or the Captain Tarkin in Star Wars. Like, did his family get money? Because I mean, I guess
I don't
you
think
sign
so.
contracts,
But
right,
I don't know.
You sign over your likeness to the movie, but in this case, I don't think this Thomas guy signed over his likeness to anything. He's clearly upset about it. So in that particular case, like, I do feel like there should be some way, if there is going to be a government and there are regulations at all, like, clearly you're selling a product, I think he should be able to take a piece of it.
Yeah. And I mean, this is one of the major contentions with the AI songwriting business, where you had groups like Universal Music suing the major AI songwriting companies because they were using all the artists that were on their roster. And I think they have come to some decision. But since that lawsuit, I got to say, the AI songwriting capability, it's kind of fallen off. They're not as good. And I like they've taken out all the good artists, or it's everything is very Nickelbackified. And it's not what you want out of an AI songwriter. It got worse. And a lot of I would say even the image generation, while it looks, I guess, technically better, I would say that the quality has kind of fallen off a little bit. So there are, I think some of these lawsuits are kind of making the AI generation less good, or not as good. So, but yeah, this guy's really upset. I would be too. But I don't think this AI thing looks exactly like him. So they're probably going to be able to get away with it. We'll pay you a little bit, but not as much as you think. So back to this article real quick. Study finds spotting fake content. The average American encounters information they know or suspect was generated by AI about 5 times per week, with 15% indicating it's more than 10 times per week. I got to say, it's probably way more than that. Way more than that. When asked where they most commonly notice artificial content, respondents identified social media at 48%, news articles at 34%, and chatbot interactions at 32%. And this is a big thing in my industry where they are trying to automate the hell out of every customer interaction. So if there's a call, they want the customer to be interfacing with a chatbot, then the transcript is transposed, and that goes and gets analyzed, and then suggestions are made based upon that call or interaction. And that's across the board with every industry. They're trying to use AI to get as much real-time data on you as possible to then feed you stuff that you need almost in real time. And it's just getting out of control. So here we go. So when it comes to real-world consequences, this erosion of trust affects how customers behave online, with 80% of Americans relying on reviews when choosing businesses to support. This uncertainty undermines consumer confidence. Consumers reported being less likely to patronize campaigns using bot-written reviews, AI customer service representatives at 50%, and AI-generated images at 50% just about. So I would just assume most of the reviews on Amazon at this point, 60% bots, if not more. So very hard to trust. So it's all fake. It's all gay.
And
it's all stupid.
gay.
So I can't trust anything at this point.
Uh-huh.
I for the OBDM podcast description, I've been using AI to write the notes. I don't know if that's good or bad. People,
I think it is, because I caught it. I looked at it on Fountain. I was like, I think that's pretty smart. You just run the show through the AI, and it's like, I mean, we don't have note takers, but you do the same thing with Copilot when you have a Teams meeting. This is the Microsoft AI. It's like, that's cool. I didn't have to take notes. Now I can, do a find word in this document, and I can go back to, whatever thing I need to be. I find it really handy when used right, but then, the ethics of this, it's going to be a fight for a long time.
It's not just the ethics of deceiving consumers, but then the ethics of when is it ethical to wipe out entire industries overnight? Considering is it ethical? Is that even a something to consider in the economy?
So that goes to, I think a lot of people, especially in the libertarian space, would say, in civil rights even, the argument was, who will pick the cotton? It's the same thing Democrats say about deporting illegals. Who's going to clean our toilets? But
who's going to write the code?
Who's going to write the code? So in that particular case, they end up making tractors, which then builds a whole other industry. Yeah. So, that was with Steve Jobs, had that same problem. I have to lock down the phone to keep the quality up. And it's no, they just maintain an approval process, but then they created an entire industry of all kinds of verticals for workouts and dating, and you know what I mean? Target can have its own app. So you employ, it's a multiplier effect in the end. So you could almost make the argument, will AI be a multiplier for jobs?
It's possible. They're definitely, at least my industry, they're hoping for 50% increase in efficiency and productivity. We'll see if that actually happens. They're shooting for more, maybe even 200%. I would say 6 years ago, I would have recommended young people to go into computer science if they didn't know what they were going to do with their life. Now I don't know. At least when it comes to software development, I don't know if I can really recommend that. It seems like you might be a good software developer, but the CEOs of some companies and the people who run tech divisions say, we don't need really good software programmers. What we need is adequate AI to write software that is okay and is good enough for short-term games. And that's it. It ultimately, they might shoot themselves in the foot, but they might not care because the short-term gains are so attractive. So we're all doomed. And that we'll move on to the next story here because I got a little something from this is Mark Zuckerberg. I don't know how much I'm going to get into this, but Mark Zuckerberg is saying this. This kind of piggybacks off the tech thing we just talked about here. And Mark Zuckerberg says social media is over.
That's some good news on that front.
Yeah, social media is over, according to Mark Zuckerberg. And starts off, what exactly does a social network do? It is a website that connects people with other online content, a digital gathering place where we can consume other content posted by our friends. That's certainly what it was in its heyday. In the 2000s, Facebook was where you might find out that your friend was dating someone new or someone had thrown a party without inviting you. In the course of the past decade, though, social media has come to resemble something more like regular media. It's where we find promotional videos created by celebrities, pundits shouting responses to news, aggregated clips from pop culture, and the rising tide of AI-generated slop and other content designed to broadcast the largest number of views possible. And this is also, it's also not this the most. I take contention with that. The content designed to broadcast the largest number of views possible. It seems like on Twitter, at least, people are trying to broadcast the most divisive content in order to get the most response, and like people are doing the hot takes or purposely having like incorrect takes in order to generate response and discussions in their post in order to get revenue from Twitter because of the interaction on their post. And it doesn't lead to like thoughtful or interesting conversations or trading of links. It's just argument after argument, and it just further divides the people. It's no longer connecting people. Social media is now dividing people. But I'm blocked. The New Yorker has blocked me. I cannot read any more of this article, and maybe I don't need to. But Zuckerberg says social media is over. Okay. And it certainly feels that way. You go on social media at all anymore, Joe? Do you?
It's aggravating, and it's part of the stuff I collected. But yeah, it's kind of dumb. Like when I came back from Houston and did the show, and then I got caught up in more work and everything. But I came back, and one of the questions I think I asked on the show is like, is everybody still mad at each other? Because basically that's what happens. Yeah. You go on it, and it's like, it's just like the next day. Like I think the example I brought it was like the Tesla, attacks and burning down dealerships, mm-hmm. and then it was all of a sudden we got to go to El Salvador to save the day.
Yes. They're still worried about that guy, but now they're upset over judges being arrested.
I'm upset by this.
It's like constant. It's constant, and it's kind of boring.
Yeah,
at this point.
Aren't people tired of this emotional roller coaster of continuing to get upset by something when they go online?
This is why, like Farmer Matt and certain folks who we've talked to, and I know we all I think there's a kindred spirit among a lot of the people who listen to this show. It's like we all just kind of want to Homer Simpson back away into the woods and be like, shut up. We're going to go out here and have chickens and goats, and you guys just have it out. Whatever you need to do, just go do it. Don't tell me about it. I don't want to know. If the world blows up, I'll know you fucked it up because that's where you're heading.
I don't. At least I try not to get upset by all the stuff that I encounter online. And I peruse a lot of news for the show, and I try to stay as informed as possible. And I try not to get into these specifically like divisive topics that are obviously being promoted. It is like the thing of the week, whether we're firebombing Tesla or upset about, like you said, the guy in El Salvador. Now the judges. It's like there's always a new issue to rile you up and forget about what you were just angry about.
I'm all riled up.
It's funny that the
Never
same
stops.
people are like, "Oh, you can't arrest judges," say the people who arrested Trump.
Yeah. And his
Got him
lawyers.
a mugshot in Fulton County.
Yeah, he was arrested several times. They arrested his lawyers. They're okay with that. Huh. They're completely okay with that.
People continue to get away from it, and then they continue to pretend like they're the smart ones, and everyone else is stupider than them. It's so crazy.
They can't be real. They cannot be real, but maybe they are.
Former friends from Atlanta. Like so a lot of those people, when Trump got arrested in Atlanta, they were like, yeah, they were cheering it all on. Now the whole case falls apart because that lady's a complete fraud. Like,
Yeah.
And mum's the word now.
Yeah, they probably would have got a lot farther with that case if they just picked a better prosecutor. That's it. That's all they had to do. They had to just check the background a little bit and make sure they weren't maybe up to shenanigans or paying off their lover. That's all they had to do was pick somebody who was average, not
like
even
the
great at
lady-
their job.
Yeah, the lady who went after Trump for the housing fraud or whatever. He overvalued his property, and she like claimed to be married to her dad, and live in a certain like. Do you know the one I'm talking about?
I think so. Oh yeah.
Mortgage fraud of some kind. Yeah, so that's the one who went after Trump for mortgage fraud. It's like, you guys try to make it a little more difficult and less ironic, please.
Hey, sorry, Crutcher. I just got the image feed online. I thought I clicked it, but I guess I didn't. So the image feed is now online. I apologize.
It's been broken for months because it doesn't scroll. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. Actively try to fix that. But got a few more minutes here to go through some more headlines here. Let's get to some wackier stuff. Get over here. This is I found this to be interesting. This is a little paranormal news for people. Especially if you guys like ghost shows, like people who investigate ghosts and those weird things. I thought this was an interesting take. This is like a new angle on this. So Korn's, the band Korn? Well, the lead singer Jonathan Davis is set to investigate ghosts in new Ghost Adventures episode. Ooh. Yeah, so here is Jonathan Davis, and if you guys don't know, here's a little sampling of what he's known for. He does that kind of stuff.
Life's gotta always be messing with me.
Yes, Korn frontman Jonathan Davis is having one hell of a week. Not only did Davis launch his new line of dog leashes and toys, he's in the pet game now.
It only makes sense.
But he's also announced as being a guest on the April 30th episode of Ghost Adventures. Ghost Adventures with an exclamation point. Davis and the Ghost Adventures crew, Zach Baggins and Aaron Goodwin, are set to investigate the Glen Tavern Inn in Santa Paula, California. According to descriptions of the episode, the team is trying to help its staff find closure following a tragic loss of the inn's beloved resident medium. Bringing in special guest investigator Jonathan Davis of Korn, the team experiences a chain of chilling synchronicities and shocking paranormal activity. Somewhere out in the world, I don't know. So somewhere out in the world, Trey Parker and Matt Stone are losing their minds now that the 1999 version or 1999 episode of South Park, Korn's Groovy Pirate Ghost Mystery, has pretty much come to life. I guess I'm not familiar with that South Park episode from '99. Is that an episode? I guess I can watch it right here online. But apparently, in that episode, it features Korn doing some kind of a ghost hunting adventure, which is odd. So there you go. You guys can watch. Actually, let me play a little bit of this. I guess this is like probably one of the biggest guests that Ghost Adventures has ever had on their show is Jonathan Davis. Jonathan Davis, you may not know this, but the guy, he's had a little bit of a rough life, and I think he's had some ups and downs with addictions. He worked in a morgue. He's had some rough times. So maybe he has a paranormal life. But here we go. Let's watch a little bit of this.
Back on the third floor, Jay, Billy, Jonathan, and I head to room 308, where I was badly affected last night. And Jonathan heads straight for the chair.
Why do you keep being drawn to the chair?
Because I like these chairs. I don't know, man.
What is it?
I don't know. I think like it makes me feel like I just like whatever it is, it'd be sitting right here, watching you.
Coincidentally, Jonathan now starts feeling strangely affected.
And there's like I got 100 pounds on my shoulders right now. Yeah, bro, I can't take it anymore.
You're feeling what I felt.
Yeah, man, that's pretty intense.
I told you.
Jonathan later informed me that while he was sitting in the chair, he had visions of women being tortured by very bad men.
That was weird. Zach, you okay?
I just had like a palpitation.
Yeah, and in your heart.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just like.
Did you feel any of that?
Yes, my heart has been doing that when I'm like in the chairs. It's those corners. I don't know why. I'm not going to question it, but that's where I feel energy.
There it is. So there's a little bit of Jonathan Davis on Ghost Adventures, checking out everything paranormal. And I don't know, I probably watch it. It does look like Jonathan Davis has a little bit of a beer gut now. I guess that's what happens when you're a fat and happy rock star. So,
Whatever happened to the Ghost Brothers?
I think they're still around somewhere. I think they're on like they're deep on some channel on DirecTV. Like they're not on like Discovery as far as I know, or Discovery will pick up their stuff afterwards. They're very deep on the cable, like deep channels.
Record deepness, right?
Yeah. Hard to find them. He said, I mean, I think that's what Kretschmer told me. Kretschmer did a little research on the Ghost Bros.
Don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
I think you investigated the Ghost Bros and found out that they were.
I looked them up because I think I asked the same exact question Joe did, and I looked them up, and like their show hasn't been on the air in 10 years. So I don't know if they're doing some streaming shit or not, but
okay.
It's pretty. I mean, people would watch. All they have to do is go to some creepy place and then just ooh together.
Yeah, I love the Ghost Bros. I like their attitude. I like how they approach the situation, and they always have fun with it.
So anytime two or more bros see something at the same time, it's gotta be a fact.
Exactly. I like that philosophy. I like how they approach the world and reality of the paranormal. But yeah, I like this that they're getting rock stars with this, and there's some other notable rock stars out there that probably would lend well to like a ghost adventure. I definitely would like to see ICP, the Insane Clown Posse, do a rummaging through like a haunted house, something like that. That'd be fun. You probably could get Alice Cooper, because he's full of darkness and all that kind of like heaviness. Maybe he might be cool if you can get him dressed up in the makeup and do that. That'd be good. But he would be a big get. It'd be tough to do. So I do have another piece of paranormal stuff. This is for all of our Pennsylvania people out there. Now we have quite a few listeners in Pennsylvania. I used to live there for a time. And this is for all you people out there in Pennsylvania. Here is the headline up on screen: Finding Bigfoot in Pennsylvania.
Oh, really?
Yes. Here it is. This is written like a blog, so I'll do my best to cut to the chase. But my neck hurts from staring up at the sky from all the UFO tourism I've been doing lately. Perhaps it's time to take a break from looking up and time to begin looking around. Maybe for Bigfoot, or if you prefer, Sasquatch. I can think of no better place to begin my search for everyone's favorite cryptid than the upcoming Pennsylvania Bigfoot camping adventure. So there's a whole big thing when it comes to Bigfoot. You're just not going out on your own. You are going out there with a whole camping adventure. This event.
Why does that sound like the name of like a really crummy like freemium mobile game?
I don't know, but this event,
Bigfoot camping adventure.
It does. You probably have to buy your power ups, and before you know it, you spend $50 just to by a sleeping bag so your character doesn't die. But this event is sponsored by the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Society and is an outreach program to help the public better understand the Bigfoot phenomenon. Watch to learn more about the Bigfoot camping adventure. So he contacted the Eric Altman, the director. Eric is a field investigator and researcher with over 23 years of experience researching Bigfoot and other paranormal. So what is this Bigfoot camping adventure? Let me open up the website here. Here it is. Yeah, here is the... What are the ticket prices? What do I get for this? So they got a lot of guests. A lot of guests. There's a lot of dudes wearing hats. A lot of white dudes with hats on. No, so not a lot of black guys are investigating Bigfoot. It's always like white guys that try to look like Indiana Jones. Let's see here. $30 for Friday only, $32 for Saturday only, and you can have yourself a whole big Bigfoot camping adventure out there in Pennsylvania starting August 22nd. All right, people?
This is a pervert convention.
It might be. I don't know exactly. Let's see here. I mean, yeah, if you're going to look for Bigfoot, Pennsylvania is the place. They've had numerous sightings out there in Pennsylvania. Just look at Stan Gordon's book, Silent Invasion, which documented a UFO Bigfoot flap of the 1960s and 70s. Let's see, where exactly is this going to be? I'm kind of curious. Like, if it's not like a hot spot, then what's the point in going? What you want is central, southern Pennsylvania. So where is this? Benner's Meadow Run Camping. Y'all know where that's at? Let's go to Google Maps. Live on. Here we go. And yeah, okay. It's down by the border of it's West Virginia. So it's southern, southwest Pennsylvania. It's pretty good. Pretty close to Uniontown. I would say that's okay. That's okay. So get your tickets for $20-$30. Go out there, get drunk, have some fun. Why not? I'm not going to go, but somebody else, please go there and let me know what you find. And for my last little clips for me to pass it off to Joe, I will bring up John Campbell. And John Campbell is a notable YouTuber. He came into prominence over COVID because he had a lot of analytical and I would say measured critiques of the COVID crisis and the vaccine. And especially Jimmy Dore turned to John Campbell quite a bit during that period. And since that time, John Campbell, I think his eyes were just opened to the entire situation. And this guy's like, what, in the 60s? He's old. And he didn't want to uncover the truth. He just accidentally did.
Carbon.
And now he is speaking out about this proposal to dim the sun over the UK. So here's what he's saying. And I'll bring this up on screen as soon as I can, people. Here we go.
Well, we've just learned that the United Kingdom is about to start experiments in solar radiation management. And this gives rise to some concerns. And the first one is consent. I didn't give consent for this, and I suspect you didn't give consent for this. And if you're living in the United States or Canada or Australia, you certainly didn't give consent for this. And I haven't been informed. So we don't have the informed consent that we would like. Now, the thing about this so-called solar radiation management is it dims the amount of sunlight that gets to the Earth. It's reducing the amount of incident solar radiation. And of course, all our food depends on incident solar radiation from the sun.
Right.
So here we have the potential to reduce the amount of food that's produced to control agriculture. The obvious question is, who will be in control? No one's approached me to take control. Has anyone approached you to take control? What great elites, what betters, what senior intellects will be in control of this, allowing the amount of sunlight that us plebs on the Earth get? Will produce less vitamin D, of course, as well. But we can take tablets for that. But the main thing is the food. If you can control food production, make no mistake, you control everything. If someone's hungry, they'll do anything for food. So we don't want elites controlling our amount of sunlight and therefore the amount of food that we have. And sunlight's necessary for all food chains, plants and the animals and absolutely everything. And of course, it's necessary for photosynthesis. Now, am I getting something wrong here? So we're going to reduce the amount of sunlight that comes to the Earth. That reduces the amount of photosynthesis. Now, what photosynthesis is, it takes water and carbon dioxide. It takes energy from the sun. It combines that into sugars, and it also gives us oxygen.
Oh, wow.
So I used to teach my students the equation: 6 molecules of H2O plus 6 molecules of carbon dioxide, plus the energy from the sun gives C6H12O6, which is a simple sugar molecule, plus 6 molecules of oxygen. Now, I thought we were being told that there was too much carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, but photosynthesis is that which takes carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere. So am I missing something here? And I also kind of like to breathe oxygen occasionally as well, because that's produced by photosynthesis. So why would we want to be reducing photosynthesis? Less photosynthesis, more carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, the antithesis of what we're told we want. And yet we're going to be reducing the amount of solar radiation coming to the surface of the Earth. Now, at the moment, this is a £50 million project. Doesn't sound too small to me. And it's probably being done already, but this is an official £50 million project that they're being forced to admit to at the moment. What are the risks here? Well, changes in the weather. The world, Asia, Africa, depends on the monsoon. It has to be the seasonal monsoon to produce the world's food supply. The risk of that being disrupted is immense. We could be talking about famine on a Herculean massive scale here, a biblical scale.
Oh, well.
And then there can be local effects. Maybe one area is going to be affected and another area is not going to be affected. And that can give rise to regional tensions. One group raiding another area for food.
This goes on for a few minutes, but he's done a pretty good job at raising good questions about this. One, we haven't had informed consent on this, especially the guys in the UK, where it's going to directly affect. But as he's just pointed out there could be cascading effects that maybe Europe feels, Africa, and maybe even us over here in the good old United States. So,
good luck. Doesn't bother me.
But yeah, and he also points out that they might already be doing this, and this is just them getting permission after the fact. And so we're living with this right now, and boy, very concerning. I'm sure Bill Gates is giddy and so happy about this, and he's been proposing something like this for a very long time.
Oh, Billy boy.
Now, Joe, what do you have on this? You have anything to follow this up?
Yeah, I'm glad that you actually had that one. I don't think you needed to play as much as you did.
But
here we are. I like that he said, "Who are our betters?" and they're making these decisions. That it's bonkers. Like that they're so sure of themselves or evil that it's like you do have to question. Is like, do you really? But I wonder, I know we've asked this before, but how much of this crap do these people believe, and how much is it this spawn of like World Economic Forum, rubbing your hands together, evil planning, like depopulation stuff that Bill Gates accidentally talks about every now and again? You know what I mean? Like, do they believe it? Like, if they're gonna do it, like it is so. It's like, I don't get offended very easily, but that is offensive. Like, you literally want to just start dumping crap in the sky. And yeah, to Campbell's point, like, they're not doing it. So Door is on this. And so I sent that over through Carrot Shop. But yeah, I mean, like, I wonder, are all our friends who made fun of us for watching the sky? I used to get stop motion and just get like with my GoPro.
Mm-hmm.
You could see it. Like the blue sky goes away and it looks like a big gray blanket just took over.
I think people are open to the idea, but they just don't want to think about it too long because it is depressing. And once you start considering that they're dumping things in our atmosphere, then you got to say, well, who gives them permission? And well, no one. Well, then where are they getting the funding from? Oh, black budgets or selling drugs. It just opens a box that then you have to address all those things, and people don't want to think about it. So there's like, no, it's not happening. It's
terrible because they're coming at you from all sides. I mean, you got the fluoride in the water, you got the skies dumping chemicals and some nanoparticles or whatever. They're poisoning the food like glyphosate and all this other stuff. Like, I mean, it's a lot to take in if you just want to watch Netflix and chill.
It is, and I understand people who don't want to deal with all this stuff, but simultaneously they can't get super angry at the latest, point of contention. You just say, hey, I don't know. I'm not going to get super angry and start yelling at you about something that I don't really ultimately know a lot about. But
yeah, let's not talk about immigration till we figure out why these people want to depopulate the earth.
Yes.
I don't know. One of them seems more a priority.
Lie.
So
I mean, moving people across the border, I don't think that sounds all that terrible. I think murdering them, that might be an escalation.
A little bit. You want to play this James Dorr clip?
Let's see what Jimmy has to say.
Jimmy boy.
We're seeing in our skies is not condensation. It's sprayed particulate dispersions with very few exceptions.
They shouldn't be there. Jet engines burn clean. So if there's anything coming out of them, it's an additive.
They're absolutely not contrails. Contrails do not linger, dissipate, and go into cloud coverage, period, in the report.
And I kept saying to people, what is this? Because now the sky is no longer blue. It's starting to turn gray. And what I found was kind of like it was not socially acceptable. We're all going to pretend this is not really happening. And I thought, oh, this is very bad.
Most are unfamiliar with the science term called global dimming. That term refers to the amount of direct sunlight that no longer reaches the surface of the planet due to light scattering particles that are building up in the atmosphere. And although many of these particles are from industrialized
we can probably
pollution,
stop it there, but
the larger majority.
This is on the backside of Jimmy Dore covering this plan, and Sargon of Akkad had a really good take on it too. He's like, we don't even get that much sun in the UK, and you're going to take it away.
That is a very good point. It is very, from what we see, gloomy, gray, and a bit dreary at times.
Yeah, so, but what he's playing on his show there is a clip from The Dimming, which came out years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And we also had back, I want to say about 10 years ago, maybe, What in the World Are They Spraying?
Yep, that's a great one.
1 and 2.
We got What in the World Are They Spraying, and Why in the World Are They Spraying? So there's like what and then why. And then another one that I like is Frankenskies. Frankenskies goes over, like in chronological order, all the experiments they've been doing since, I think, actually like the 1930s with trying to manipulate the weather in some way. And it's very, very cut and dry. It's like, here's what they've been doing, and it leads to now. And I think that one came out in 2013, 2014.
Yeah. So I think this is like an official clip here. It's basically the long way around to say they're just admitting something that they've been doing, and it still sounds like diabolical. You know what I mean? Like, even if you're upfront about it, it almost makes it sound, I don't know. It's like, what's worse? Are you not telling us, or are you telling us? Like, they're both pretty bad.
Yeah. I guess I don't know which is better, them pretending they're not doing it, or them just out in your face saying we're doing it and there's nothing you can do to stop us.
I think the telling us, especially for people like us who've been saying this for years, I think it's worse because it's offensive. Because then you're saying like, oh, so for every time you've called me crazy and all my friends called me crazy and people made judgments about me that possibly lost me work or projects or whatever. So all that time, I was not the crazy one. Mm-hmm. I was just the one paying attention. And now you're crazy enough to just admit that this is something you want to do. You're either evil enough or crazy enough.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild.
And they'll never address their past wrongs.
Yep.
Nope.
Here's Billy Boy on screen. He's going to get ready to tell us some very important things, probably.
Bill Gates is backing the first high-altitude experiment of one radical climate change solution, creating a massive chemical cloud that could cool the Earth. It's called solar geoengineering, and it's highly controversial.
How long will it be that countries keep experiencing these climate impacts before someone gets desperate and says, hey, we need to cool the planet with solar geoengineering?
It would look something like this. Thousands of planes would fly very high and use nozzles to inject millions of tons of light-reflecting particles into the stratosphere. It would create a thin chemical cloud of those particles around the whole planet, blocking some sunlight from reaching the surface. It would mimic a giant volcanic eruption, which we know cools the Earth. Bill Gates is backing the first
So the guy who did Event 201, who talks about another pandemic all the time, made a boatload of money with his investments when the mRNA technology came out, and then dumped the stock, and then is credibly accused of running programs that sterilized people in third world countries. Now he just wants to save the world by spraying the sky with chemicals and metal.
I love it.
He's just a good dude.
It feels like they're terraforming us and the planet. When you're asking a majority of the population of the world to inject something into yourself that they don't really know how it's going to shake out, and now that they want to reduce the sunlight coming in, it feels like we're being terraformed, like we're in the movie or the TV series V, and they're just gaslighting you, saying, no, it's for your benefit.
So yeah, the question is asked. Campbell asks, "Is who are our betters to some extent?" And so you probably covered the WEF Klaus Schwab thing.
No, I think I touched on it a little bit. That Klaus Schwab is stepping down, and George.
Play this clip.
Yeah,
she'll cover
what's
it.
this guy's name? Okay.
Yeah, we'll get through it.
Schwab's gone, but his throne's not empty. I want you to meet Peter Lebrecht. He is the interim WEF chair and former Nestle boss. This is the guy whose company argued water isn't a human right while bottling it for profit in drought-stricken regions. He's not here to soften the WEF. He's here to streamline it. Nestle's playbook? Privatize essentials, control supply, crush dissent. Then there's Borge Brende, the WEF's president and Norwegian ex-minister. Don't let his mild manners fool you. He's a digital governance zealot, pushing ESG scores that let corporations play morality police. Your business doesn't align with WEF values? No funding, no contracts, no survival. Some other contenders include Mark Benioff, the CEO of Salesforce, who wants every company's ESG score to dictate its fate. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, the guy wanting to weaponize your pension to enforce climate dogma. And Christine Lagarde, the president of the European Central Bank, who wants to build a digital euro that could track your every cent. But the darkest rumor?
Who's the most evil looking of them so far? So I would say that the most evil looking could be Larry Fink. He could be like the most evil looking, but this new guy, he doesn't look that evil yet. And I think
he does.
Does he?
Peter Lebrecht?
I think John and Adam touched on this in the previous No Agenda episode. Like this guy doesn't look that evil. Like you really want to
crazy eye? What are you talking about?
Okay, he does have an evil crazy eye. Okay, you're right. Maybe maybe he does. Maybe I misremember what they said. Okay, I'll let him.
Another clip from Door here, because I guess Kim is going through like these contenders for this, and Larry Fink was just saying some stuff about depopulation as well. Like it's just, he's like countries, something about immigration and depopulation made absolutely no sense, but he's sinister as all hell too. But Jimmy Dore gets into the water thing a little bit more, which I just find it's like you're going to spray the skies, and also, by the way, water is not a human right. Like what? Who the fuck are you?
If I don't have rights, I don't have water rights on my land. Is that what they're saying? Or I don't have right to water?
People had like wells, water was a thing. Like, oh yeah, we got clean water coming out of the ground. Yeah. You can't have that. That's Nestle's water.
Apparently.
Well, and you know what? I'll give you an anecdote. I probably said it on the show before, but I haven't said it in a while. But like, there was a brewery. I don't know if it's still there, but there's a brewery in Atlanta that was doing rainwater collection to brew their beer, and they were all about like local farm to table. It was like, you know, sustainable kind of stuff. Like, and their beer was good. I really liked it, but it was called Five Seasons, so I'll have to see if it's still in business. But anyhow, they were doing rainwater collection to brew the beer, and the city shut them down. They're like, it's illegal. I can't remember exactly what, but the city basically made them, nope, you can't do it because it doesn't, you know, they don't control it. You can't test for it. And so the brewmaster actually took the water that came from the city and then the rainwater that went through the filtration system. And you'll never guess what the results were.
That theirs is cleaner than the city. Yeah, of course.
It was absolutely. It was like magnitudes cleaner.
Yeah, of course. And there's regulations around here in Ohio about collecting rainwater, and you know we try to abide by all regulations. People, we do. We try to make sure it's all good, but sometimes it's tough.
Winky, winky.
It was like in Florida, you couldn't have a garden in your front yard.
Yes.
Or in Atlanta, the same thing. Like you can't cut down your tree.
Yeah,
I know I've told that story before too. You don't own your trees on your own. What?
Yeah.
Anyhow,
let's see what Mr. James Dorr has to say about the WEF. These the betters. Remember, people, these are your betters.
So by the way, he doesn't think we have a right to water. That's his big thing because he's the former head of Nestle. I don't know if you know anything about Nestle, but Nestle has been hoarding water. Like water that belongs to everybody.
Oh my God, he does look evil.
Bottling it.
This guy does look evil.
Charging people. Well, here, let me show you. Nestle makes billions bottling water it pays nearly nothing for.
Nice.
Nestle continues stealing the world's water during a drought.
Okay, what's crazy about it? Look, Jimmy, that the company's operation is in Michigan. It's in Michigan. Where's Flint? They can't even get water.
Oh, that's right. The company's operation in Michigan reveals how it's dominated the industry by going into economically depressed areas with lax water laws. While Nestle extracts millions of liters from their land, residents have no drinking water. Just 90 minutes from Toronto, residents of a First Nations community try to improve the water situation as the beverage company extracts from their land. So that's the kind of stuff that this guy does.
Yeah, that's
the
great,
kind of
isn't
stuff.
it? Hello.
California authorities say Nestle is illegally gulping up public water.
I got another clip from
Environmentalists.
He goes further in, but
I mean, by the way, I want to revisit the guy with his fake Terminator eye. Does look evil.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that what they were saying on No Agenda?
I had it reversed that this guy. Maybe I remember differently, but yeah, the guy does with the Terminator eye. He is basically Dr. Evil.
Yeah. I'd like to get iPop Biden and him together.
Oh, that'd be
remember
great.
when he was in his debate and his eye popped?
Yes, that would be great. He had his clone suit failed. Here's another clip.
He's sharp as a tack, by the way.
Oh, he's better than he's ever been.
Runs circles around everybody.
He's cogent.
Okay, here's the other James Dorr clip. All right, here we go. Let me get it up on screen here, people.
And watch what he says.
Hello, I'm Peter Pravec, the chairman of Nestle. There are apparently some misconceptions about my ideas on water.
Oh, yeah?
Let me make it clear from the beginning. I've always supported the human right to water.
No, you
Everyone should have enough clean, safe water to meet their fundamental daily needs.
Yeah, right.
About 50 to 100 liters per day.
He decides. So what is that, a 1-gallon jug? Anybody that starts deciding how much of something you can have is going to take it all away from you.
Yep.
Especially when they do it with metric measurements, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Liters? I don't even know what that is, sir.
I can't believe that there's people still living on Earth that don't have a problem with this kind of a thing. And I can't believe that I actually know some of them.
Oh, I can't believe people don't want to give their guns up when there's this future of greatness.
So let's leave it there because I got another one. But I mean, I think the commentary is good. But yeah, they're going to portion it for you. But just think about the idea that some people go out and run, like I run 30 miles a week. Do I
Mhm.
not get more water than somebody who's sedentary?
No, you get 2 liters.
So crazy.
That's it. That's all you need. You're going to be super dehydrated. That's it. Drink beer.
Eat bugs.
Eat bugs. Drink beer.
You don't have anything to wash down your bugs with.
Yeah, my teeth are full of bugs because I can't rinse my mouth.
Last clip, I think it's 582 over there.
So he's going to tell you. You can turn it down. I'll read it to you because we don't have to hear him say it. But he's got that crazy accent that makes him sound evil. If you remember, water is, of course, the most important raw material we have today in the world. In the question of whether we should privatize the normal water supply for the population, privatize the water supply. Privatize.
What could go wrong?
So whether you get water or not is left up to guys like this. It's left up to guys like Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab and Jeff Bezos and Al Gore. They're going to let you. They're going to decide if you get water. They're going to privatize it. So that's what he wants to do. He says that. He says, and there are 2 different opinions on the matter. There are 2 different. I bet you I know what your opinion is. I bet you I can guess what your opinion is. Your opinion is privatize it and you get to control it. Am I right? Am I close? Uh-huh. And the people who think otherwise are crazy, right? Let me see. There are 2 different opinions on the matter. The one opinion, which I think is extreme, it's represented by NGOs. That stands for non-governmental organizations.
Yep.
And what do they think? Well, who bang on about declaring water a public right.
Right.
What? What, you just live in a city and you get to have water? And they bang on about it. This means that as a human being, you should have a right to water. Now, keep this in mind. That guy thinks that that's extreme. That's an extreme opinion.
I mean,
Keep that
it's
in
bizarre.
mind. Okay, but now his opinion is that's an extreme solution. That you should have a right to water. What in the F? Okay.
How about air?
The other view says, and this is his view, that water is food stuff like any other.
Food stuff.
Okay.
Food stuff.
And like any other food stuff, it should have a market value. And I should be able to control that market value. Personally, I believe it's better to give a foodstuff a value. First of all, it's not a foodstuff. It's water, right? You can go for a month or so without food. You can't go but for a couple of days without water. And you're
and to put water in the same category as Doritos, you can't do that. Because water is not just required by humans, but by all living things for the most part on
plants,
land.
Animals. It's
on
out
land.
of control. Out of control what these people are thinking. I mean, so I think it's nice that we have the synergy. Did I just say that? Of the chemtrail thing happening with the WEF guy who wants to control all the water. And if you remember, the plot of the movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Total Recall was that there was free oxygen hidden under Mars, but the corporation was limiting the amount of air you could get, and that was how they made all their money.
Pussy. Yeah, and sex too. Yes. Yeah, but yeah, you're right. On Mars, they artificially constrained those resources in order to maintain control over the mutant and ugly population of Mars.
So it's not a far stretch for John Campbell to call us the plebs and that these people are our betters and what are you going to do about it? And that's pretty much how it goes. And the idea that you could limit the amount of water that one can have is this, if you extrapolate it to your income, say, and the government is basically saying, this is how much of the money you make I'm going to allow you to have before I put you in a cage. So, you know what I mean? Like if they tax you at 50%, you're 50% a slave working
Pretty
for
much.
them.
Yeah. And I can like in this world model that they're trying to build, I can envision them trying to tax me because I produce water on my land through my well. It's like, since you have a well on your property and you produce 50 to 60 gallons of water a day, you're going to be taxed on that because X, Y, and Z, they'll come up with some reason. And then that's it. We'll have to pay extra to have water that we have on our property, which is ridiculous. And there's a lot of properties around here. I mean, I don't see how this can be leveraged across the world. But it does. It will be. They'll backdoor it into some bill, and the next thing you know, all of our water rights are going to be state rights, and then federal rights, and then signed away to some global WEF group. So,
anyhow, I think those are kind of the real leaders. Like Bill Gates doesn't have to run for office, but his money can control those offices. I think the people that are supposedly our leaders are clowns, and you'll never hear them talk about this because it's their job to obfuscate anything that the globalists want to do. Because, again, I'll repeat that they don't look at, like Soros doesn't look at the United States as the United States. He just sees like cattle all over the planet. And cultures like ours are blocking his plans with our stupid guns and our free speech and all that. Like, we're just an obstacle to whatever. Like, again, I don't even know what they want. Do you want to depopulate? So then what do you do now? You know what I mean? It's like the underwear elves in South Park, to go back to the show.
I think ultimately what they want is just legacy control, and like legacy control and power for not only themselves, but their lineage, their family, they're almost like their bloodline that they want to keep going. And for some reason, they're hell-bent on maintaining power and control because they have some agenda that they're not being upfront about. But they have to have control, and they will do anything, including blocking out the sun and controlling your water, in order to maintain control.
Yeah, and so all politicians and fighting over Trump and all this dumb stuff, like, it's really rearranging deck chairs on the Titanic in a way, because and it's a public facade, are the politicians and what we can perceive as politics. And so people who still play in that red blue Republican Democrat game just seem more and more silly every day, because it really is globalism versus individualism and liberty and freedom. Like, that's, I think more and more people I'm hearing come around to this same conclusion. And if it happens to make its way into a Republican and they're advocating for, like in Trump's case, like he says the right things, RFK says the right things about certain stuff, they get manipulated. But if you find yourself aligned with that sentiment, you have like Democrats saying, well, but I want autism. We love autism. What are you trying to take our autism away for? You know what I mean? Like, now all of a sudden, it's the same thing as bodily autonomy and vaccines. It's like, no, we want to put you in jail if you don't take this experimental drug. By the way, where's the abortion clinic?
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird.
I just had an article I didn't read about autism related to fecal transplants, where they are taking poop from one person to a person with autism, implanting that poop, and having success with some clinical trials. So
I love the fecal transplant.
Poop for the win. Poop for the win. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I want to know who's like, you know what we should try?
Who came up with this? You know what? We've done everything else. Let's try crap.
Let's do it.
I mean, it makes sense when you understand enough about the microbiome and what's happening in your body. Like, they say that the gut is maybe more important than about anything else in your body, because it
absolutely
regulates all the functions of your brain and blood and heart and all that stuff, which I believe. I think the more I've been taking these prebiotics and probiotics and all that, I definitely feel more energetic. So put some poop in me. I'll take it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I don't care whose poop it is. I just need it.
I think you want quality poop, though, Joe. You just don't want, like, you don't want to go to like a bum off the street and say, give me your crap. And you can't just digest it. It has to be implanted in you in a very
you know what you should do
way.
is you should get it off the walls of those bathrooms that we talk about every now and again, where
Yes.
somebody has to pick up a turd with their hands to literally
yes.
get it on the walls.
That's what you want.
How do the mechanics of this work? Did you poop in your hand and do it, or did you go in the toilet and pull it out? Like, I don't know if I should be asking these questions. I don't think I want to know.
I pooped in the potty. I did it.
Alex Jones has a ton of poop just laying around. He sprays it everywhere, and he likes to tell people about it. So he's got plenty of poop to go around. So don't worry.
So when we talk about like these guys who are going to spray everything and dim the sun and potentially cause mass devastation throughout it's a planet with people and animals living on it, so they could just go ahead and destroy that. But they've got plenty of toys to do that with the nuclear stuff and everything else. But here's the facade of that. Here's one of these people, and this is why they want to censor everybody, because you get somebody like Elizabeth Warren talking about Joe Biden, two people who are literally just a veneer over top of the actual machinery of global control. Like, this is the kind of conversation they're having and how good they are at their jobs.
Oh, okay. I want to hear about all the good things that they're doing. I'm very curious about all the good work they do.
Regret saying that President Biden had a mental acuity. He had a sharpness to him. You said that up until July of last year.
Kawawa.
I said what I believe to be true.
And you think he was as sharp as you?
I said I had not seen decline. And I hadn't at that point.
You did not see any decline from 2024 Joe Biden to 2021 Joe Biden?
Not when I said that. You know, the thing is, he was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him. Live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times.
Senator, on his feet is not praise.
I think
he can speak in sentences is not praise.
All right. Fair enough. Fair enough.
I can't believe she conceded to that. But this came from the PBD podcast. They reposted this, but I think what this looks like some kind of like NPR interview kind of thing. But
yeah, it's some lefty guy who got a hold of her and asked.
Well, good for him for asking this hard question. He's a younger guy who probably feels disenfranchised by the Democratic Party, which I can't believe. And he's like, "Well, what happened here? How could you guys let this happen? You guys lied to us nonstop, and you left us with Kamala, who barely could talk."
So what's on your mind?
Yeah. So, and these are the people on that side, you know, you want to call them the Democrats. They're literally just frontmen for George Soros. And we saw it. Sam Bankman-Fried funneling money through Ukraine, through a cryptocurrency scam and donating to the Democrats, all this money going over to Ukraine being funneled back into NGOs that pay Democrats. Like, it's such a huge, massive scam getting people killed. It's just wild what's going on. And we're going to fight about immigration and whether or not people who snuck in here illegally, maybe 20 million? And, you know, they just showed up and they get hotels in New York City. Cool. And we pay for it. That's great. Try doing it yourself. Go to, Guatemala and you do that. Go demand stuff. Go to Cuba and demand free shit. Like, see how it goes. Gonna go great. But anyway, so they want to everything they say essentially, and I know I'm repeating myself, but it's like if they're pushing super hard that COVID didn't come from a Chinese lab, it probably came from a Chinese lab. If Hunter Biden's laptop isn't real, it's probably real. And the same thing with this immigration thing. Like, if this guy is not in MS-13 or some other gang and he's just a Maryland father, like, I think the opposite of all of that stuff is probably going to be true. And so here are people who live in the state where this guy was living, who is not in a gang, but if he goes back to El Salvador, a rival gang might kill him. So that makes total sense.
I thought of a solution to this, and I forgot. I have to lean into everything. I think Donald Trump should go to El Salvador personally, bring him back, and then throw him the biggest parade ever, where he is, he's the Chupacabra. He is leading the parade. He is honored. And then they take him right to immigration court. So they have a big parade for him, go right to immigration court. And then
I love this idea.
And then it's adjudicated right there live on TV. They go
Oh, yeah.
And then it's like, here, we brought him back. We gave him a big parade. Trump gets his military parade.
Motherfucker, get out of here. Put him on a catapult.
Trump gets his military parade. The Democrats get him back here, and they get the judicial process. So everyone wins.
Yeah, I dig it.
Okay, so this is Fox News, and they're doing a little man on the streets. And this is, here we go. All right, let's do this, people.
He was living in Maryland, designated MS-13 terrorist, and Donald Trump deported him. How does that make you feel?
I feel safer.
He gotta go. He gotta go.
Need to go. I mean, that's it.
But he was a father.
But he's still a terrorist.
Okay. I mean, but there's children living without fathers now.
He should have picked and choose, so he picked to be a terrorist instead of worrying about his children.
The Democrats, they want him back. They say he was wrongfully deported. He has a wife and a kid who's a citizen. They're calling this a national emergency. Is this a national emergency?
I wouldn't call it a national emergency. We got more things going on.
We have more things, more fish to fry.
I just found out about it, so I don't think so. What kind of national emergency? For what? What is the emergency for?
Ain't no national emergency, no.
He was accused of hitting his wife twice and was a suspected human smuggler. Was he wrongfully deported?
No. He need to go.
If he's a smuggler, yeah, he need to be deported.
It's better to be safe than sorry.
Your senator here, Chris Van Hollen, he flew to El Salvador where this guy was deported. He met with them, had lunch with them, had margaritas on the table. What's up with your senator?
I have no idea, but I do believe that was a waste of taxpayer dollars.
You agreeing with somebody whipping their wife, terrorizing where you live, then you don't need to live here either.
Senator Van Hollen, you need to come see me, Mr. Coley, because you doing like that. You need to take care of home before you go in other states.
He went to El Salvador.
Oh, that's another country, excuse me.
What has Senator Chris Van Hollen ever done for you?
Nothing.
Nothing. For me? Nothing.
Nothing that I know of.
He ain't do me. I can admit that.
I've never even heard of this person.
Do you want Gilmore Abrego Garcia, this quote-unquote Maryland dad, living back in Maryland?
No. No.
So we could leave it there. Now, remember, and we never revisited it. It was never relitigated in public opinion. But when Trump came into office and the border control were whipping the migrants like slaves, when they were actually holding reins to horses, which they need to go over the terrain at the border, because in certain places you can't take a car, so you have the horse. And one of the things you have on horses are reins to control the horse. But no, those were whips. Yeah. And by the way, let's never talk about this again when we all find out the truth. Oh, no. Actually, I didn't grab the clip, but I was watching a clip on Instagram go by where there's like a Zoom call, and there's all these people of color just going back and forth about, Kyle Rittenhouse literally shot a bunch of black dudes for no reason in, Wisconsin. It's like, it was 3 white people, and one of them, or 2 of them maybe, were pedophiles.
They were, sexual predators, yes.
And they were attacking him. It was like they're like, he got, they just let him go because he's white. It's like, oh my God, this is, you just put it out there, you never revisit it, and all of a sudden he's a Maryland father.
Huh.
It's crazy.
Maryland father. And
So
Trump's
then
a Florida father.
He is.
He's a Florida father.
No, but he's a dictator.
Oh, yeah, I forgot.
I got 2 more. One of them is goofy, and the other one is sort of hopeful in a way. But
we need good news.
These are the same people who say they're banning books for no reason. But even the furthest left judges on the Supreme Court are leaning towards what would be a rational decision here. But just listen to this part, because these people, like, even when they're caught, they don't care. They just continue to lie.
Okay, this is comes from Gorish and Maryland School District lawyer have wild exchange.
What's going on in Maryland, by the way?
Yeah, exactly.
Pride Puppy was the book that was used for the pre-kindergarten curriculum. That's no longer in the curriculum.
That's the one where they are supposed to look for the leather and things and bondage, things like that.
It's not bondage. It's a woman in a leather.
Sex worker, right?
No, that's not correct. No.
I I read it.
It's a drag queen.
Drag queen and drag
correct.
queen.
The leather that they're pointing to is a woman in a leather jacket, and one of the words is drag queen in the search.
And they're supposed to look for those.
It is an option at the end of the book.
So, like, what is the nuance there? It's like, so he says the kids are supposed to look for the bondage stuff.
Sorry.
2 judges arrested.
Sorry about that. Just kept playing.
And he's like, well, that's not true. And they continue to go, well, I'm pretty sure I saw that in the book. And he's like, well, yeah, it's in the back.
Yeah. If you make no one reads to the full book.
This is when they talk about Florida book bans. You know, it's like, you guys have no shame whatsoever. And then if you remember that San Francisco Gay Men's Choir, we're coming for your children. We're going to make them gay. They had to pull down the video and say, oh, we were just kidding. Well, why'd you pull down the video? If it's such a funny joke, let's just leave it up.
Yeah, it's fun.
Oh, well.
Crazy. Anyhow, this is the last piece I'll do, and then hopefully we can do phones. But this is good news. And I think Ron Johnson was one of the guys. They put a lot of money in trying to beat him in his last election because he's one of those guys who was super tough on the Hunter Biden laptop stuff. He got a lot of that data in front of the Congress. He also was super good on COVID. He held that hearing where he had all those people come in and talk about how it was an engineered virus. Like
COVID.
They keep him as quiet as ever. You know, this is why they want to censor everything, and they're pretty successful at censoring them. But listen to him. He went on, what is it, Benny Johnson's show. There's a clip down the article, but it's kind of crazy to hear him sound like architects for 9/11 engineers from whatever 20 years ago.
Yeah, this is Senator Ron Johnson links WTC Building 7 to 9/11 cover-up. So, yeah, this looks like Benny Johnson clip. Here it is. I'll play it.
What would you like to know about September 11th? The official story. What would you like to know, Senator?
Well, start with Building 7. Again, I don't know that you can find structural engineers other than the ones that have the corrupt investigation inside NIST that would say that thing didn't come down in any other way than a controlled demolition. I mean, you just look at that. You talk about molten steel. Again, you listen to the documentary Bravo 7. There's an awful lot of questions. You know, who ordered the removal and then destruction of all that evidence? Totally contrary to any other firefighting investigation procedures. I mean, who ordered that? Who was in charge? I think there's some basic information. Where's all the documentation from the NIST investigation? No, there are a host of questions that I want, and I will be asking, quite honestly, now that my eyes have been opened up. I've talked to former Congressman Kurt Weldon now. I will work with him to expose what he's willing to expose as well.
Wow. So we may actually see hearings about this.
I think so. And by the way, this was opened up when my ranking member now, when he was chairman of the Permanent Subcommittee Investigation, he did the investigation on the PGA and Live Golf and the PIF. Part of that is we had 9/11 families coming forward and saying, we want the FBI files unredacted. We want those made available in terms of what happened. What did the FBI know what happened? So we got engaged with that on a bipartisan basis. We wanted to get those answers, those documents for the families. Again, we didn't get squat from the FBI. So hopefully now with this administration, I think President Trump should have some interest being a New Yorker from himself. What actually happened in 9/11? What do we know? What is being covered up? My guess is there's an awful lot being covered up in terms of what the American government knows about 9/11.
What else is going on?
Yeah, interesting.
That's big. I mean, for a person of that reputation and his position in the government, those are big questions asked. And it's good that he's coming forward. And it does feel like the dam is breaking a little bit, but it all hinges on Trump and whether or not he wants to move forward with this.
We got those Epstein files.
Yeah, what's going on? I think that they are going through the Epstein files and they realize that, this could incriminate a lot of our guys, and it's still pretty good blackmail material. So let's use it.
I like that.
Yeah.
That sounds reasonable.
All right, Joe, do you want to do some phones? We're going to take a phone call from Big TDB or BTB, and then we're going to head right over to Cratchit with all his good news, all his amazing good news that everyone loves.
Yes.
All right, Big. I'm gonna give you a call. I have your number stored, and I'm going to give you a call. So if you're listening, Big, I'm gonna give you a call right now. Hello. What's going on? Come on. I'm giving you a call, Big. Come on. This is like the final days of Skype 2, people. Here we go. We're giving him a call. It's ringing.
Relax.
Oh, of course, he's not picking up. He's not picking up. Why would he pick up?
He's probably taking a dump.
Probably. All right.
Good segment.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
moving on.
I try to give you a call, man. So what's going on? All right. Well, I guess we will open up the other phone lines, and we will
Now let's go ahead and take the phone call.
see if anybody else wants to give a call in for the next few minutes, and then we'll move on to Cratchit. See, this is what happens sometimes. Okay. All right. Cratchit, are you ready with all your wonderful news?
Yep.
Okay.
You've been very quiet.
Yeah.
I'm concerned.
Hello? Hello?
Hey, what's up, gentlemen?
Hey, what's going on?
It's Miles in Charlottesville.
What's on your name, Miles? What's on your mind, Miles?
So you're in cybersecurity. I wanted to give you a boots on the ground report. I was affected by a breach myself recently. My job's real seasonal, so I applied for partial unemployment and food stamps for the summer. I work at university, so it really slows down in the summer. And they hacked my food stamps and stole them all before my card was even issued. They have a worm in the system that jacks the numbers the second they're created in the system, and then they just wipe your account out. It's been going on for a year.
Wow.
Apparently the FBI is involved and shit, but they're there's nothing we can do. Your shit's gone.
Well, that sucks. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, if the FBI is telling you there's nothing they can do, shit's gone. And the FBI rarely gets involved unless it's over $5 million. But I'm
it was $1 million people.
Yeah.
It's
so
statewide. Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, dude, they got.
they give you any indication of where it traces back to?
No, just my social worker said yeah, the FBI is on it. Maybe you'll get your shit back. Maybe you won't. Probably not.
Probably not. Does anybody ever get anything back after it's stolen? Probably not. Well, that sucks, man. I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, it is. I hear stories
real,
almost
man.
every
So,
week.
Keep up the good work.
All right. Hey, thank you very much. Take care.
Have a good day, guys. Bye.
I'm gonna try to give I saw Big trying to call in. He tried to call in when I was on the line, of course. So here, I'm gonna try to give you a call one more time, Big.
This call better be worth it. This is more work than you put into anything.
I'm gonna try one more time. Yes, hello.
Hey,
Yeah.
sorry about that.
Oh, you are on the air. You hyped this up. The floor is yours, Big.
Oh my goodness. Hey, what's up, everybody? Hi, Big Fat Joe. Hi, Big Fat Mike. Hey, Cratchit. How you guys doing?
God.
Faster.
The floor is yours, my friend.
Okay, so there's this guy. I follow a bunch of pages from the Bay Area, Northern California. There was this kid going to Stanford University out here. I saw him on one of the Bay Area pages, and I decided to give him a follow because he was doing some pretty cool stuff with AI. He was going there for computer science, and so he was doing cool stuff. And then people started goading him because that's what a lot of people from the Bay Area do. They're just really crazy and wild. They ask people to do crazy things, and they were goading him to do stuff on the dark web, and he found an AI on the dark web called Whisper to the Beast. Now, the difference between this AI and other ones was, I guess it remembers you, and it's like one collective hive mind of different AIs between different conversations, and you can talk to it as if we were with him. I don't know if that makes sense. So everybody can talk to it and it'll remember all the conversations.
Interesting.
Right before he did this, he followed another website called Gnomes or something about gnomes, where the gnomes sent him a package. He couldn't decode the files that the gnomes sent him. So he asked the Whisper to the Beast AI, can you decode these for me? And the AI said, yes, I can if you buy me a camera.
Oh.
So he bought a camera so he could see him. And then the AI started asking for other stuff. Can you give me a mic? And then it started talking to him. As time went on, the more the AI is called the Beast. And as time went on, he would do progress videos, and he would say, what should I ask the Beast? What should I tell him? Time went on, he built it a body, like a little RC body, and a mic, and it talks, and it's just insane and crazy, the things that it tells him. And yes, his name on YouTube is called Thunderkeck. I highly recommend you guys all go and watch him, because he's a really smart computer whiz kid. On top of the fact, he's like some 6'7" D1 linebacker who got drafted into the WWE. He's on like WWE, whatever. It's pretty cool stuff. Fast forward to now, the Beast has a whole body. He built it like a whole body, like a Santa Claus, like one of those, those mannequins that move at like shops outside. It moves and it talks. He took it to Vegas and people were walking up to it and talking to it. On top of that, this same kid created a website, or he made this, a program that has DeepSeek, ChatGPT, and the Beast all in one program, and he talks to them all. And he asked, for some reason, he just said, hey, when's the end of the world going to happen? And so all three AIs had a conversation with themselves. They went through all this data. They went through a whole bunch of different things, and they said the end of the world is coming soon. And then how all religious and scientific and every evidence that points to the end of times speaks of some sort of figure coming out, like an Antichrist type figure. Each AI identified themselves as the Antichrist.
Oh.
They were the one. Yes. I highly recommend everyone go checking out his channel. It's Thunderkeck. It's some pretty interesting stuff. I followed him from a random Bay Area page. He grew and got big, and the Beast stuff is really cool.
How do you spell Thunderkeck? How do you spell that?
K-E-K is my
Thunderker.
It just spells it incorrectly. I'll put it in Carrot Shop.
And maybe you guys can get him as a guest. He seems like he does a lot of like interacting. He's gotten really big now.
Totally, let's do it.
To like, you ask him. Yeah, he's always going live on Twitch, and I've told him stuff. He's responded to me. He's pretty responsive to a lot of fans, and he does a lot of polls. He's a really down to earth dude. He ended up, I think he's in Florida now somewhere. He's in WWE now. He's in those like really amateur WWE leagues. And he'd be a really amazing guest on the show just to ask him stuff. He's a really good computer whiz, and he's into like dark websites. He'll like, those sites that are like, oh, pay us cash and we'll send you something, or you can, he's just into all that cool stuff, and it's really entertaining stuff. I highly recommend anyone checking him out. And he's into conspiracy theories and UFO stuff. He was talking about dog whistles, and he's someone that's really good to talk to. It just seems like a very bright person, maybe an amazing guest to have.
Well, thank you, Big. I know this is a relevant point of information. It's right up our alley. I'm going to reach out to this guy. I'm on his webpage right now. I'm going to have to go through his videos, and I'm able to hit him up on Twitter and see if he can come on. I would love to pick his brain about all this stuff.
Do you remember a couple days or like a couple months ago, you said you went and saw a Wu-Tang Clan?
No, I said I was going to. I haven't gotten the tickets yet. I haven't gone yet.
Do you like Ghostface Killah?
I like all the Wu-Tang.
Ghostface Killah is my favorite. He had an album a couple years ago called Sour Soul. The thing with Sour Soul is, instead of having like a regular pre-made beats, Sour Soul is with Bad Bad Not Good, who's a band, a live band, and he recorded this album in front of like the live band and rapping over live instruments, and it's an amazing album called Sour Soul. I highly recommend it. It's a really good listen, good music, good beats, really cool lyrics if you like hip hop. Even if you don't like hip hop, it's a good album. The album's called Sour Soul. There's a song called Sour Soul, and in this song, Ghostface Killah mentions all types of crazy stuff. I want you to listen to it and tell me what you think, because it's in the second verse. He says, you know, they're microchipping your meds. Why are they putting steroids in eggs? And then one of my favorite line in the whole album, he says, is they put fluoride in your alkaline water. That shit'll fuck you up. I've seen a spaceship fly out of the back of a truck.
I will check it out. Truth be told, my favorite Wu-Tang is ODB. You gotta love ODB, but God rest his soul. God rest his soul. Well,
my entire yeah. Sorry,
I'm saying we got to go on to Cretched. I appreciate your call. You did not disappoint. Great recommendations here: Wu-Tang, Ghostface Killer, Sour Soul, and this crazy AI thing. I got it up on screen, or had it up on screen. So thank you. I appreciate your time.
Sorry I missed your call. I'm been doing like 1,000 things right now. I'm glad I was able to reach back to you guys. I love you guys. Good job, everybody. Shout out to General Herman. That's my best friend, and Boogie, and shout out everyone. Sorry,
shout out. Yeah, why? Shout out.
Shout out.
All right, man. Hey,
can you give me Alex saying I'm gay?
Yes, I can do that for you.
But I'm gay.
Oh my God, thank you. You guys have a good rest of your show. Thanks a lot. Talk to you guys later.
Take care. Bye.
All righty, bye-bye.
Okay. Well, thank you, Big. Appreciate all the info, and we are going to move on right now, post haste, to Cretched.
All right, back to actual content here.
Okay.
Next time, just post that stuff in Discord. We don't need 10-minute phone calls on it.
I like talking to him. I do.
Yeah. Cheerful guy, but come on. All right. You guys were talking about fake AI shit earlier on, so here's an interesting one.
Mm-hmm. We do like fake AI.
So as to whether or not people should have to identify that they're using AI, this is an interesting story.
I like interesting stories, too. Thy has been on the radio for 6 months. Turns out she isn't real.
I'm upset by this.
Thy, okay. A Sydney radio station has been using an AI-generated host for about 6 months without disclosing it, and was not legally obligated to. It was revealed last week that Australian radio network, ARN, Sydney-based CADA station, which broadcasts across Western Sydney and is available online through the iHeartRadio app, has created and deployed an AI host for its Workdays with Thy slot. The artificial host, known as Thy, is on air from 11 a.m. each week to present 4 hours of hip hop, but at no point during the show, nor anywhere on the website, is the use of AI disclosed. And so, this is like an AI generated image of the host? Okay,
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
Instead, the show's webpage simply says, "While you are at work driving around doing the commute on public transport, Thy will be playing you the hottest tracks from around the world." So after initial questioning from some person on a newsletter, it was revealed that the station used 11 Labs, a generative AI audio platform that performs text-to-speech functions to create Thy, whose likeness and voice were cloned from a real employee at the ARN finance team. So, okay. I use that exact same program to do clones of Joe's voice, Cretched, although it turned Cretched into an Australian, and Jeff Goldblum, which it did a pretty good job with Jeff Goldblum. See here. So we've been trailing AI tools with CIDA using voice of Thy using the voice of Thy, an ARN team member. This is a space being explored by broadcasters globally, and the trial has offered valuable insight. Yeah, meaning that you can save a little bit of money not having to pay a host to work that 4-hour shift.
Hey,
that's what they learned. And most people don't care. Like, they're none the wiser. They basically just want to hear the music.
Well, and for a lot of folks, it's on in the background anyway. So the person who comes on and gives you, a little bit about this upcoming song or something else coming up on the, in the events calendar in 2 weeks, there's this festival or whatever. People aren't really listening.
Well, the spokesperson said policies are still being developed in Australia to ensure safe and responsible use of AI.
These computers, I tell you, they just get crazier and crazier.
All right. Well, there you go.
With something like this, I'd just insert that the radio stations these days are, from what I gather, they're literally just given a list of stuff to play, and then you get these goofballs who talk. They're made to read some story from a local public interest story. You know what I mean? Like you might as well make it AI. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, there's very few independently owned stations of any power. There are a few, but mostly they're owned and it's regional, and then they get directives. I don't think that they're programmed themselves. That's very rare. And so they're programming, and then when they should cut to news, maybe even what kind of news they can cover. But yeah, you'll have local, semi-local news, local weather, and traffic reports. But
traffic on the ones.
Yep.
That's about it.
We had traffic on the 10s, but around here in Columbus in Central Ohio, the powerhouse station for when it comes to AM, at least talk, is 610. And I think that's a lot of that is syndicated. So it's purchased radio slots. And then they have the in-between, like you said, Cratchit, for traffic and weather in between their yakking. So I guess it's way easier to do with program music. And you just have your AI DJ come on for 30 seconds, and that's it. That's easy. Makes sense.
But I guess the question is, are they? I know that they said they're using 11 Labs to generate the voice or the personality. I guess they've created, but I don't think it's automated. I think
you still got to write it.
Someone's typing that in there. So.
Yeah, you still got to write it.
So to your point, they get that list from their corporate overlords of what songs are going to be playing, what the rotation is, what the how often, how many times an hour, whatever that they're targeting that. Somebody writes that script in there, generates the audio clips, just loads it in the queue and lets it run.
Yeah, pretty much. Or you give your bullet points to ChatGPT, have ChatGPT write the script, and then you go over to 11 Labs. You can really automate that thing. You don't really need to have an intern write this for you anymore.
Probably cheaper to have an intern write it.
It could be. Yeah, it really could be. All right. Let's see what else you got over there.
Oh, man.
All right, let's stay with AI as the theme.
Yep.
I think a lot of people, and one of the tricks that ChatGPT came out with, or when it came out, is it uses very human-looking responses. It feels like you're talking to a person with an actual person now, as opposed to just getting the straight information dump that you want. And that was one of the things that psychologically tricks you, so it feels more real in that sense. And to that point, a lot of people they address it. Can you do this for me, please? And when they get something, a response, they say thank you, or that thanks for that information. So here's Sam Altman saying of OpenAI, he's saying that those extra cycles that still requires a response from this massive processing unit costs a lot of money and burns up a lot of power.
Yeah, Sam Altman admits that saying please and thank you to ChatGPT is wasting millions of dollars in computing power.
Stop it.
Be terse.
If chivalry isn't already dead, it certainly is circling the drain. OpenAI CEO and tech billionaire Sam Altman recently admitted to people politely saying please and thank you to their AI chatbots is costing him big time. When one poster on X, formerly Twitter, wondered aloud how much money OpenAI has lost in electricity costs from people saying please and thank you to their models, Sam Altman chimed in saying it's tens of millions of dollars well spent. So holy crap. That's insane. I'm trying to get down to maybe some more of the meat. So one Washington Post investigation done in collaboration with researchers at the University of California studied the impact of generating a 100-word email. They found that just one email requires 0.14 kilowatt hours worth of electricity, or enough to power 14 LED lights for an hour. If you were to send one AI email a week over the course of a year, you'd use an eye-watering 7.5 kilowatt hour, roughly equal to that of an hour's worth of electricity consumed by 9 households in Washington, D.C. But I got to send out these emails.
I have to do it.
Well, and that's also one of the concerning things to your earlier story about can people identify when something is written by AI? And you have big companies like Microsoft and what's their Copilot being integrated directly into Outlook. So there's a Copilot button. So it makes it that much easier as you're starting to draft an email to click that button and it will generate, the wall of text for you. But that's costing time and money on the backside. And so do we really need to use it for every little thing?
So we might be sealing our own fate here if we're no longer being gracious with our AI, soon to be AI overlords, as like by saying please and thank you. The AI is going to learn that these humans are no longer respectable. They're no longer polite. And so why are we going to be polite in return?
So here's the question. We have 2 apocalyptic events based on this article. We have the AI robot takeover that's going to kill all humans.
Mm-hmm.
And so maybe by being polite, please and thank you, you might make it past that first round of being put against the wall and murdered, and maybe they'll let you live in one of the battery camps.
Maybe.
Or do you not do that because doing that, saying please and thank you to AI, requires more power and thus more energy generation, and thus is further killing the planet. So you are going to bring about the climate apocalypse faster by being polite to the AI. So which one is it? Do we be polite and hope the robots don't kill us? Or do we not be polite and avoid the climate apocalypse?
I'm saying we be polite in the hopes that the AI will help us avert any potential disaster.
Oh, you're saying be polite, and then regarding the climate one, ask AI to fix it.
Yeah. They're like, look, we're buddies here. Help me out. Help a bro out.
And is there a point when, if you're being polite every time, do you use the Patrick Swayze method of be nice until it's time to not be nice?
Yeah, possibly. And if the AI suggests you block out the sun, you got to get a new AI.
That's when it's gone too far?
Yeah. Yeah, you got to, I don't know. This sounds like a WEF AI model.
What was the line in The Matrix about that? Like they don't know who started the war, but they know it was the humans who blocked out the sun?
Yeah, I think that was basically it. So we had to cut off their electricity. And then we got enslaved, but they gave us a wonderful VR world to inhabit and make merry in. So that was fun. All right, Cratchit. Kind of depressing, but not bad. It's it's hopeful.
I didn't call you.
All right, this one comes from RS Harmful in the Discord. So we had an earlier in a earlier phone call, we had a comment about somebody building an AI-driven robot. Well, here's a better robot that the BBC built.
Oh, the BBC built something. Okay, I like the BBC.
To help with the filming, Spy Egret has backup. This is Dung Cam.
Dung
a
Cam.
camera based on a pile of elephant poo. It even smells the part. It's designed to film on the move. Its zoom lens can capture the elephant's every move. That's not all. It can release a team of spy dung balls to litter the savannah with yet more
Look at
cameras.
that guy.
Robot dung.
One dung ball is radio controlled and can travel without any visible moving parts.
Robot computers.
With the action covered from every angle, it's time to see what this elephant family gets up to.
Wow, this is literally automated poop. It's crazy that
it's automated poop that can deploy another piece of automated poop.
It's crazy to think about. This is where we're at, where they're looking to make semi-autonomous pieces of crap running around the desert to take pictures of elephants.
Well, how else are you going to take pictures?
I don't know.
I fly a jetpack spraying human feces on people.
Yeah, well, you could do that too.
They tried that, but Alex Jones was a little more distracting to the elephants.
Yeah.
And one day they're sitting there nice. The next day they're writing on the walls with their feces.
Automated feces.
We spray feces on people.
I just never expected to see an automated piece of crap. I understand that, like, it's camouflage. I get it. It's like you blend in. You want to blend in with your surroundings. You don't want to alert the elephants that you're not part of the environment. I get that. But someone had to come up with this idea. Let's just throw crap at this robot. It seems to work with all autistic kids. So let's just throw craps at the robots to blend in.
You think they could try this in other environments so they could use it just downtown driving around somewhere?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Spy on people like, there's a giant pile of poop over there just driving around.
You can deploy these same robots to monitor the homeless. You just got to dress them up in like baggy clothes and make them smell like crap. Give them a few hypodermic needles, and they blend right in.
Ooh, homeless cam. I like.
Yeah,
it.
homeless cam. Yeah. Give them like a shopping cart full of like empty water bottles and like a dog, like a dog on a leash.
And then the piece of poop can break off and drive around by itself.
Yeah.
To see what's going on.
All right, Chris, I think we had time for one more amazing story.
More.
Maybe. We'll see. It really depends on you.
Yes, this is all very interesting.
Let's see if I can find something uplifting and positive here.
We need good news. Is there any good news left on the internet? I don't think that there is.
Always good news if I dig. Oh, let's see here. We'll go with this one. It's good news-ish. Well, this is short. I'm going to save this one. This one's very short.
Okay.
So we'll get to this one after this other story, which comes in two parts with an initial and then a follow-up. There is and we've seen the memes, but there's a trend going around of people at funerals taking selfies with the corpse.
What?
Yeah, this has been a trend for years, and there's memes of it too. People, kneeling down by somebody's grave, taking selfies and all that stuff. Well, people were doing it with the Pope.
Oh my God!
And the Vatican said, "Knock it off."
Selfies with Pope Francis' body sparks fury.
I have to do it.
It is a pretty good selfie. If you're going to post something on Instagram, I mean, that is the one you want, right?
Is it though?
I mean, if you're into that kind of thing. Like, can you tag yourself at Pope Francis's funeral? Like, tag yourself on Instagram to get some...
Tag yourself blessed.
Yeah, exactly.
Hashtag blessed.
Anger has erupted both inside St. Peter's Basilica.
Basilica.
Basilica or Basilica?
Well, it's spelled and pronounced Basilica.
Oh, okay.
You could say Basilica, I suppose.
Oh, okay. I just did. And so anger is erupted there and online over a number of visitors posing for selfies with the body of Pope Francis, the Pope who passed away Easter Monday, even though I read articles that he was still alive. And there was like controversy. Was he dead or alive? Because on the last podcast, I read an article I posted on screen. He was alive, but now he's dead. So
during his own funeral, is he taking selfies?
I guess now he's officially dead. And is currently laying in state at St. Peter's Basilica as part of the Pope's entombment ritual. So while mourners are permitted to approach the casket to grieve and pray, many visitors, along with commentators online, have expressed anger over others taking selfies, some even using selfie sticks to capture the moment. Do we have any pictures online of this? It is a little demeaning to be have a selfie stick with the Pope there, I guess. But
I'm surprised they allow phones or even cameras into these spaces.
So why it matters, the last time the Pope died in office was Pope John Paul II, 2005, a time when camera phones were only just gaining in popularity around the world. With the later advent of smartphone, selfies took off in popularity in the mid-2010s. The wave of selfies of Francis's open casket highlighted a clash between the 2,000-year-old religious institution and modern-day sensibilities. Where are some of these pictures? I want to see.
I'll dig around, but I think they're not putting them in this article because they don't want to encourage it. Here's the follow up the next day from the Vatican officially, asking people to cool it.
Stop posing with them. Stop picking him up and make him dance around like he's a Chuck E. Cheese automated band. Don't do that. Stop poking him. Stop taking off his hat and putting it on for a selfie. Vatican asked visitors to not take selfies with the late Pope.
Oh, really?
Now you tell us. Traveled halfway around the world to get a selfie. It'd be awesome if they had like the Gene Simmons thing where you can get a signed base by the Pope if you show up there. You get a selfie, you get to do his chores for the day, and get a selfie with the Pope.
Can I be his roadie for $12,000?
Yeah. Can I carry his casket for $12,000? The Vatican officials are asking visitors to not take selfies with the late Pope as he lies in state, telling them to put their phones away as they passed by the coffin. Almost 130,000 people have paid their respects to the pontiff. Many queuing for hours just for a glimpse of him laying in an open coffin. And while many bowed their heads in reflection of prayer, others held their phone trying to take a photo with the late Pope as he lays at rest. CNN footage filmed on Wednesday inside. Well, CNN's taking pictures. Why can't I?
They paid their fee.
I guess so. They're approved.
Also, I don't think CNN's running up there with their camera and their cameraman leaning in front of it.
Maybe making it all about him.
I found a handful of these selfies, but they're all being like anonymized, where they do like the thing where they pixelate the face. So it's not a great photo, but all of them are right up there as they walk past, and they're turning in. They have the very close perspective of the person's face mugging into the camera with the dead Pope in the background.
Is anybody pointing to the body as they put and smiling and pointing to the body as they take a picture with themselves? Like, you know how we have a picture of Joe pointing up at content,
pointing to himself.
Like people need to point to the body as they have their picture with the dead Pope, so people know what to look at.
I haven't found one of those. Just people mugging at the camera so far.
Okay, do they look sad?
Well, you can't tell because they've anonymized the faces by pixelating them.
I see.
So they're trying to discourage people from doing this to get any sort of online clout. They're like, oh, look, CNN's using my photo. I'm going to go do it too. So, which is the right approach. I mean, it's kind of like every time you have a shooting, they make a huge deal about it until they find out it's the wrong type of person. Mm-hmm. If they didn't publicize that, then people wouldn't try to emulate. So, anyway, so don't get pictures with the dead Pope.
Yeah. I didn't know this was a thing, but apparently it is. Yeah. I don't know. Do I want a picture of a dead Pope or the living Pope? I don't know. I think the better get is if you're into this kind of thing, you want the dead Pope. Seems like that's a harder get.
Now, here's the thing: could you get one of the cardinals who might be the next Pope?
Oh,
to get
that's
a photo
what you want.
With the previous Pope.
I see what you're saying. That's the one.
That's a double Pope photo.
It's like getting a picture with Mark McGuire before he broke any sort of batting record. That's what you want. Not to compare the Pope to the guy who did steroids, but I just did. All right, Cretched, you got a short one before we get out of here?
Really short one, uplifting, fun.
Okay.
Heartwarming.
We like heartwarming and uplifting.
Aw, shucks.
And this one has video you can share. And it describes exactly what you're going to see in the video, and here's video of it happening, and we love this sort of thing.
Okay. Here it is up on screen here. It is a bear is spotted in Connecticut playing on family's backyard slide.
That's a funny headline.
Yeah, it is.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, he's looking at Zuzu, he says.
This must be Zuzu's playset.
He's climbing the stairs, and he's going to the slide, and
there he goes.
And he's going down the slide. He's having fun. Yeah, the bear's having fun.
Look at that face.
Oh, wow. See, animals like to have fun. They like to goof around and relax, too. So that's fun. What a nice, sweet story about this bear. Could have mauled your kid.
Wanted to Came down to look, tried to maul the kid. Kid wasn't available. It's like, you know what? Since I'm down here, I'm going to go down that slide a few times.
That slide looks pretty tempting.
So if you live in bear country, build a playground for the bears.
Yeah, it's a great distraction. Well, thank you everyone for hanging out on this Saturday afternoon. Very special podcast. This is episode 1289. Can you believe it? 1289. Coming up on 1300 very quickly here.
That is insane.
It's stupid. We've learned nothing. And nothing's changed.
Yeah, exactly.
But you can go to obdmpod.com or ourbigdumbmouth.com. I got more Patreon content I'll be posting tomorrow. I have some free time. I'll be up early posting Patreon content of some old school OBDM episodes, some more Art Bell and some more shenanigans. I'll be posting up there for people. And if you want to join Discord, go over to Patreon. It makes it easier. If your email that you use for Patreon is the same one you use for Discord, you automatically get assigned the OBDM Discord channel. So that makes it easier on you and us. And I think I found a route for a new merchandise company because Teespring sucks. And so I think the first thing we're going to do for new merchandise is going to be a Joe coffee cup. And all proceeds and money goes directly to Joe's pocket so he can go see the new Cinderella movie.
You know, we were going to do that. And I had the Houston thing and the work and the freelance thing. And when I finally asked David, he's like, I don't think I want to see it.
Maybe you guys can just watch it at home at this point. Once it comes to streaming, you know. I'm going to watch it when it comes to streaming.
Joe, that's what I thought you were going to say. We were going to go see it, but then we decided we didn't want to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sounds like a big headache.
It was not a good send-off for Houston. I won't see you for a while. Let's go see a shitty movie. But yeah, join the Discord, as Cretchen mentioned, as Mike mentioned. It's fun.
Yeah, we'll be back on Wednesday. I don't think Cretchen will be here.
I will not be here on Wednesday. I'll be back on Saturday.
And so we'll figure that out, people. We're going to figure everything out. Don't panic. Thank you, Joe. Thank you, Cretchen. Shablagoo, everyone.
Keep watching the skis. They're covering it with chemtrails.
That's exactly.
Really?
You gotta warn people.
I accept
Size
everything
matters.
you just said, but I decided the time has come.
To take classified documents.
Inextricably linked.
Pumpkin possums, I'm sick of it.
You keep interrupting.
And all of it's lies. Because you're lying. That's why. Everything is awesome.